All right, let's talk about what makes a story stick with you. What makes it truly great? Today, we're going to crack that code. We're going to lay out a blueprint for telling stories that actually connect with people on a deep human level. So, let's get into it. You know the feeling, right? If you're a writer, you've definitely been there. You've got this killer idea, a concept you absolutely love, but as you're staring at the page, you realize something's just not clicking. What is that little bit of magic? What's the secret sauce that turns a good idea into an unforgettable movie? Well, here it is. The truth is, most stories don't fail because the idea was bad. Nope. They fail because they never build that emotional bridge to the audience. They don't make us care. And without that connection, you can have all the explosions and plot twists you want. It's all just going to fall flat. But what if there was a kind of formula for creating that connection? Well, turns out there is. Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the absolute foundation of any great story, the hero. And this isn't just about your main character. This is the person that your audience is going to hitch a ride with for the next couple of hours. Their journey has to feel like our journey. And I love this quote because it gets at a fundamental truth about us, right? We don't really connect with perfection. We connect with flaws. Think about it. We love characters who are a little bit messy, who make mistakes, because in their struggles, we see a little bit of ourselves. So there's actually a technical term for this connection. It's called character sympathy. And you can think of this as the engine of your entire story. If you can get the audience to feel sympathy for your hero, they will follow that person anywhere, through anything, because they are genuinely emotionally invested in what happens to them. So how do you actually do that? Well, Edson gives us this amazing practical recipe. He says you should try to use at least 5 of these ingredients. Give your hero an unfair injury, something that's not their fault, and we'll feel for them. Make them highly skilled at something and we'll admire them. A sense of humor, especially under pressure, makes us like them. And of course, showing they're a good person, putting them in immediate danger, or just showing they're a hard worker. These are all super powerful ways to build that bond. And you see this everywhere in the movies. Look at Melvin Udall. On the surface, he's a terrible guy, but his OCD is that unfair injury that makes us sympathize. John McClane is cracking jokes while fighting for his life, and that humor makes us root for him. And hey, even an anti-hero like Tony Montana, we get invested because the guy is brave, he's skilled, and he works like a maniac to get what he wants. Okay, pillar number 2. Having a hero we love is absolutely crucial. But here's the thing. A hero is only as compelling as the challenge they have to face. They need a mountain to climb, an obstacle that feels completely and totally unbeatable. The best stories are always fighting 2 wars at the same time. You've got the outer conflict, that's the physical stuff you can see. Think Neo fighting Agent Smith in The Matrix. But just as important, if not more so, is the inner conflict. That's the hero's battle with themselves. Neo can't possibly beat Agent Smith until he first beats his own self-doubt. Now, for any of this to really grab an audience and not let go, the stakes have to be as high as they can possibly be. We're talking life or death. That's what keeps us glued to our seats, right? The feeling that if the hero fails, the consequences will be absolutely catastrophic. But, and this is a really important point, life or death doesn't always mean a ticking bomb. There are 2 kinds. You've got literal death, like in Die Hard, where John McClane could get killed at any second. But then you have spiritual death. In a movie like Working Girl, Tess McGill isn't going to die, but she is facing the death of her dreams, the death of her spirit. And believe me, the emotional weight of that can be just as powerful. And who is at the center of all this high-stakes conflict? The adversary. But listen, the adversary is so much more than just a bad guy. They are the living, breathing embodiment of the hero's entire struggle. They have to feel unbeatable, and they should represent the very thing, whether that's greed or prejudice or pure evil, that our hero needs to conquer. So we have a hero we absolutely love, and we have an obstacle that seems completely impossible. What now? Well, now we need pillar 3, the structure. This is the blueprint, the roadmap, that's going to organize the hero's journey into a series of perfectly timed, emotionally powerful moments. Everything kicks off with the inciting incident. This isn't just the beginning of the movie, it's the starting gun. It is the one single event that launches this specific story and no other. Take Pretty Woman. The story doesn't really start until Edward asks Vivian up to his hotel room. That decision right there changes everything that follows. Then, right around the end of the first act, you get hit with what Edson calls a stunning surprise. This is a massive twist, a real punch to the jaw that slams the door on the hero's old life and shoves them headfirst into the main conflict. When Louise shoots that guy in Thelma and Louise, their fun road trip is officially over. Now they're fugitives. There's no way back. And then, right smack in the middle of the film, you hit the point of no return. This is that gut-wrenching moment where any hope the hero had of just escaping the problem is completely wiped out. Think about Groundhog Day. Phil Connors tries everything to escape, right? Even killing himself. But when he wakes up in that bed again, he knows, and we know, he is well and truly trapped. The only way out is through.
Okay, so we've got our hero we're rooting for, an obstacle that seems unbeatable, and this emotional blueprint to guide the way. But let's take a step back. Why do these three pillars matter so much? What's the real point of all this?
See, these elements aren't just a simple checklist for telling a good story. They're all designed to work together, to build pressure, to test our hero to their absolute limit, all to force one single powerful outcome. Change. That's it. That is the whole ball game. The entire reason we tell stories, the reason we go to the movies, is to watch someone transform. We want to see a character grow, learn something, and become a fundamentally different person by the time the credits roll. And here's the really brilliant part. That character's change isn't random at all. The way the hero has to change in order to finally defeat their adversary, that is the theme of your movie. What they learn about themselves, what they finally overcome on the inside, that's the message. That's what your story is really about. I mean, just look at some of these incredible transformations. Forrest Gump starts out as this boy who everyone underestimates, and he becomes a man of true wisdom and incredible success. Bridget Jones goes from feeling worthless to finding her power and her voice. And the real magic is that as we watch them change, we go on that emotional journey right there with them. We feel their growth, and in some small way, we feel transformed too. So the next time you sit down to write, don't just think about the plot, about what happens. Think about who your hero becomes. These three pillars, they're your tools. But the real question you have to answer is this: what emotional journey are you going to take your audience on? If you can answer that, you won't just have a good story, you'll have one that actually matters.